This podcast contains excerpts from New Soul Radio shows. For the full listening experience with music, visit newsoulradio.com. That's NUSOL radio.com. This is Soul Say.
The following thoughts and opinions do not represent New Soul Radio, Soul Say and Company, or any of our affiliates, advertisers, or sponsors.
You're listening to Gems and Gems with Kim Brio on newsoulradio.com.
So, like I told you, it's Tuesday, so I have Sky Culverson in the building, and we are going to be talking finances. We're going to talk about some things related to the pandemic, and I am really excited. Sky, welcome to the show.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm awesome. And I am really excited that you are here because these conversations are conversations we really need to have, especially in the Black community. I like to have the unpopular conversations, but they're real. They are real.
I agree.
Yes, when I met you and we were connecting and we were talking about some of the things that you do, especially starting here in regards to life insurance. Girl, I really wanted to get you on air so that you can kind of talk to the people and explain why life insurance is so important, especially for our people and especially during this point in history.
Yes, I so agree.
So talk to me and tell me a little bit about life insurance as far as how you got involved, how you started, selling it, and then talk to me a little bit about why it's important and what you need the people to know.
Well, I've been doing life insurance roughly about 12 years now. I just happened to be working in a life insurance office as the manager in the office. And I just started to realize back then working there, the importance of life insurance and how powerful it was and how we lacked in the community, in the Black community, we lack the importance and the power of life insurance. I learned back then the transformation of wealth. And after I learned it, I wanted to take off running and teach it and give it to any and everyone that would listen, that will open up to, and those that wasn't open to it, I still wanted to just give that information and how powerful it is. And how I seen other communities build so strong for having life insurance policies when their loved ones, passed away. I seen with my own eyes how they were able to grieve and the way they were able to grieve differently from the Black community when we lost a loved one without life insurance. And, that just got me to wanting to go out and teach and give and educate my people on the importance of life insurance and how powerful it is and the transformation of wealth it gives to us as a whole. This pandemic has shook the economy, and so many of our loved ones passed away, but so many of our loved ones passed away, leaving the burden behind on their loved ones. Right. Not intentionally, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just when you know better, you do better. And a lot of us just didn't understand the power behind having life insurance. And a lot of us think that life insurance is extremely expensive. Yes. Whereas it is not. It is not expensive. And just to give you an example, we lost so many of our young adult children over the years constantly, especially our male kids. And just that alone, a policy for those age groups like 18 to 25 is like $15 a month for $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just to even piggyback off of that, 55% of Blacks were affected by this pandemic.
Right.
55% passed away from the pandemic. If just 20% of those, if they had life insurance when they passed away, just like about $250,000 coverage, $100,000 coverage.
Yeah.
Do you know that would have put 3.5% back into
Into the
3.5% billion back into our community. And that alone is just powerful. And
I was going to say that is such a powerful picture to illustrate and understand the difference in literally in a year's time of what could have happened, because life happens. And unfortunately, we don't like to talk about death. We don't like to talk about those things, but life happens and we never know what life is going to deal. And look at life dealing us a global pandemic in which many of us had negative experiences. And that's another whole conversation too, about us having adequate access to healthcare and adequate access to PPE and things like that, which made it harder for us anyway, made us more likely to become victims anyway. And then when we did pass, we were left in situations where, and people listening, because I want them to put themselves in this situation, in these shoes, we've been there where we've had to figure out how to pay for the funeral. We know that.
And that's where a lot of this GoFundMe it was created, and fish fries are created to just have enough just to bury the individual. Nothing more, nothing left behind for the kids or the grandkids and things of that sort. Just enough to get them to be laid, to rest peaceful and respectfully,
And that doesn't even touch on anything else that may have been outstanding in that person's life. That's literally not touching on any of that. Or if we're going to talk about it, and like you said, the young Black men who are part of families, their income has to be replaced. Just because he passed away doesn't mean that the kids, the wife, the family, the mortgage still has to be paid.
Yes. And I say that all the time. I always say, instead of the families losing homes, they would have been able to pay off mortgages. Instead of families rushing back to work to make ends meet, they would have adequate enough time to actually grieve and recover from losing their loved ones. Instead of families struggling to pay bills and keep food on the table, they could focus on long-term planning, not day-to-day survival. It's all about positioning yourself for survival in spite of tragedies of life to come. And
because
that's what it does. That's right.
And it's so funny listening to you say that. One of my previous guests, Dr. Garrett, we did a lot of speaking about mental health in the Black community. Just really hit something on the head where, because of the economic situations and the opportunities that we don't have, we don't even have time to grieve properly, because like you said, we're struggling to make ends meet to pay for the funeral in the first place, right? So if the funeral is paid and we're not making payments on the funeral, let's just be real, then we're hurrying up and getting back to work, because we now have to replace that financial burden that actually came to pass in regards to that. It's so much. Now, talk to me a little bit about the reality of how many people in our community actually do or don't have life insurance. We would like to assume that a lot of the elders in our community, or a lot of us, let's just be real, we drive a Mercedes Benzes and we wear red bottoms and we're doing all of this. But talk to me a little bit about the reality of how many of us actually do have adequate life insurance.
Well, the percentage, I have not, looked into the percentage, just from my own personal experience. Right. When I'm going into households, oh my goodness. I'm gonna be honest. The only person that usually have some type of coverage is grandma. Much older grandma, and the ones that are still working have insurance through their job.
Right.
So this is the thing that a lot of people are unaware of. Grandma's policy, she got back in the days from the banks that was offering these policies, and those are normally accidental policies, meaning they only pay if grandma passes away from an accident. There you are. But she's had it so long to where she's telling the family that she has insurance, which she does, but she just don't know what kind she has. And the family is not finding out what kind she has until when?
It's too late.
It's too late.
And I tell people,
I tell people all the time, looking for life insurance coverage after you are sick or have been sick is like looking for a parachute after you have jumped from the plane.
After you're already out the plane, you start feeling on you, but where is it a parachute? That would be nice if I had a parachute.
There you are, and that's the part that is so, we're such at a disadvantage. And a lot of times people are thinking because they have insurance at their job that they're okay because it's much cheaper. Well, what they don't understand is, well, when you get ready to leave the job, or you don't stay at this job, or you're not retiring from this job, now you leave in this job, now you don't have any insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they give you the option to keep this insurance. When they give you the option to keep this insurance, you're no longer under group rate. Now you're on. You
got to pay the premium.
So now you have to pay that premium. And if you're much older, and if you have any type of illness, it's even much more. And I tell people all the time, that's cool, fine and dandy that you have insurance on your job. But you pass away and your family is contacting your job to get your insurance policies, for your final expense and things of that sort. Well, the job can easily say, how about Miss Jones didn't sign a paper that she needed to sign to carry over her insurance? Because what you don't have when you have insurance on your job, you don't have a policy in hand. That's what you don't have. So you don't have anything concrete.
Group umbrella.
There you are. So when I say things like that, I try to explain to people you have to get some insurance outside of your job that you own and you control,
Yeah.
And that's very, very important.
And the other part of it too, even as you say it, we just have to be real about today's day and age. We don't really have jobs where we're working 30, 40 years and retiring from those places. We live in an environment where a lot of the biggest companies haven't even been around for 30, 40 years for you to retire from. So
you are.
It's just,
let's just take it to something personal. Whereas my dad worked at a company for 30 plus years. And when he turned 63 to retire and get his pension, you know what? The company folded and filed bankruptcy and he was not able to get his
God. And he's put all these years in with this job.
There you are.
You can't, and it's, oh my gosh, that one hurt. Yes. That hurts to hear, but it's important for us to understand not to put all of our eggs into other people's baskets. It's okay for those to be supplemental, if you want to have that on top of what you take care of yourself. But it's so important for us to have that coverage for ourselves, like you said, policy in hand, where we completely understand exactly what's going on. I am loving this conversation. So what we're going to do, I'm going to play a little music. We're going to take a quick break, play a little music, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about life insurance. I want to shift the conversation a little bit more to what people who don't have it, where they can start. And then I want to actually talk to you as well. You talked about something really interesting to me. You talked about setting up retirement for entrepreneurs.
Oh, yes.
And that is, a lot of us, and myself included, who think of retirement, we think of, like you just said, working somewhere 20, 30 years, leaving, and then that place, taking the helm of that. Like personally, my parents worked, one for CTA, one for the state. So I thought of retirement in that nature. I never thought that was a possibility for me. And I'm excited to talk to you about that too.
Well, I'm excited to share it, Kim.
Supporters of this show can join us on Patreon, where for only $5 a month, you can access all past shows and exclusive content. Join now at patreon.com/SoulSayCo. That's patreon.com/SOLSEICO. Want to answer one of our questions? Or have a song or artist request? Or do you just want to leave us some feedback? Call the New Soul Radio voicemail at 312-945-6376. That's 312-945-6376. Remember, we may play your message on air. I'm very excited to have Sky Culverson today. We are having conversations that need to be had about finances, more specifically life insurance within the community. Sky, welcome back.
Hi. How you, Kim?
We have been having.
I'm excited to be
I
here.
know the conversation has been going so well, and I'm really excited because I'm hoping that we've sparked some thoughts in some people who had not even began to think about life insurance, period. I needed to spark that within them. Now, let's talk about those people who are like, ooh, I think I do need to look into that. Where can they begin? What do they need to understand, and where can they begin?
Well, they can first actually contact me. I have a Instagram, social media, Instagram, Facebook page where you can just type in Sky Culverson, or you can put in Sky's Diamond Financial. And once you click into there, click on my link and put your email information in, and I can just keep you abreast of what's going on and the important information. And I also give out a lot of good information concerning financial literacy and things of that sort. So that will be your first step. Sky's Diamond Financial. Click the link and put your email address here.
Yeah, and shout out to Q Johnson of 529 Management, because you have just had a beautiful brand revamp, and you, honey, you are set to go. If they go to skysdiamondfinancial.com, thanks to Q, they can put in their email address, they can schedule a call with you, whatever they need to do. So that's skysdiamondfinancial.com, everybody. Make sure that you go. Shout out to Q Johnson of 529 Management, because that girl is something else.
I love her. She rocks.
Yes. She got you right together, boo.
Yes.
And she's responsible for us connecting and meeting. So thank you so much, Q, because this is a conversation that needed to be had on this level. Now, as people are looking at life insurance and that sort of thing, right? You spoke a few minutes ago about when we were talking about the granny situation. You spoke a few minutes ago about accidental life insurance and the different types. Can you give us a basic rundown of, if I'm looking into life insurance and I've never looked into it before, what are the basics that I'm looking for? If I know accidental is accidental, but what are the other options? What else is out there?
So normally what I do, I sit down with my client and do a needs analysis. And what that does is it gives me an idea of what it is that you need for you and your family, and for you guys to, grow and think and actually have that transformation of wealth put into place for you and your family. And what I do is, normally if you have kids, I sit down and figure out from the age of your youngest kid how much coverage is needed if you pass prematurely before that kid becomes an adult. I always put in 2 types of policies. If you have kids and you have young kids and things of that sort, I normally put in a term. And what that term does is it leaves enough money to give that kid the same lifestyle that they were getting while you were here,
for them to be able to maintain their lifestyle.
There you are. And then what I also put together is a whole life policy. And I do that is because term policy ends at a specific time. It may be 15 years, 20 years, and some even reaches out to 30 years. However, you cannot predict when you're going to leave here.
Exactly. If we knew that.
I tell people all the time, they always want to run and get term insurance. I don't mind. You can get term insurance, but just know once this term ends, what's next? You understand?
And you don't know what's going to happen with your health and anything in between that point in time as well.
There you are. And so I normally lock in your good health and things of that sort when you're younger, right when you're getting your term policy, so that policy has already, which is a whole life policy. And whole life policy are exactly what it says. It's here for your whole life. Yeah. All the way up to age 100. If you're still here at age 100, that policy matures and you just get the cash, is how that goes. So you're covered. So when your terms of, you've played your part of raising the kids and you kept yourself covered with your term, your kids are now adults and things and your term policy has is over that term is over. Your whole life policy has been accumulating cash value over those years. And so that still exists.
Okay.
And you don't have to wait until your term policy is over, because a lot of people say, well, why can't I just wait till my term policy is over and just get a whole life? Well, if you wait 20 years later, you're older and it's much more expensive for you to receive a whole life policy.
Exactly. And again, this is life, and we don't know what our health is going to be next year. I mean, and guys,
we don't know what our health is going to be tomorrow.
Exactly. And we're talking to our community. We know that our community has health ailments that we typically struggle with. Cholesterol, blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, all of those things. We know that that's prevalent in our community. So with us knowing that that's prevalent in our community, it would kind of be common sense to make sure that we're covered as soon as possible.
I agree. Now, and this is the thing, I have to say this, is because a lot of people don't want to get whole life insurance because they have some type of existing illness and things of that sort. Well, once I sit down and do a needs analysis with you, and you are diabetic, you have, you're taking multiple medications for certain illnesses and things of that sort. Well, once you reveal that to me, then you get the application, no medical questions asked. You see?
Yeah.
So you're still covered. You fall into the application of no medical questions asked. That way you can still get covered with illnesses and things that was already, existing before you even got the insurance.
I'm so glad
everyone,
that you said that.
Everyone, Kim, you got to get this. Everyone can be covered. Everyone.
That's so major, and I'm so glad you said that, because that's what we do. We automatically think in our head, well, they doing all this talking, but they ain't gonna cover me because I got XYZ, I got da-da-da-da-da.
There you go.
And there's always, I need you guys to understand and hear Sky clearly, there's always an option. Reach out to her, because there are different options available, because the worst option is just not having anything.
There you are. Unless you're in the hospital on life support, then
that's a little different. I don't think they're listening if that were the case. I don't think
but their loved ones are, so they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I've got one more life insurance question, and then I want to transition to that retirement for entrepreneurs, girl, because you just made my little ears perk up with that one. But before I transition there, I want to talk about life insurance really quickly. I want to talk about children. And I want to talk to you about what you think families with children should do, because just kind of thinking and looking at the pandemic now, it shifted the way that we think, right?
Oh, and yes.
It shifted it to the point where, we're looking at families who lost teenagers, people, young people that were still in high school, et cetera, to COVID, because you don't know what life is going to bring. Talk to me a little bit about what you think families should do in regards to covering their children, when you think they should begin to be covered and that sort of thing.
So children are to be covered as soon as they come out of the mom's womb. That's first-handedly. And with that, you have two options. When I say two options, you can either get that kid a life insurance policy standalone by themselves, or you can just add them as a rider to your own policy. Which is extremely cheap to add a kid under the age of 18, from 0 to 18, put them on your life insurance policy as a rider. And that takes care of that kid. Do you hear me? All the way up until their age 18. Some policies have where the kid can still stay on your policy up to age 24.
That is
with life insurance coverage. But what I normally do, once they hit 18, they can get that policy $100,000, $14, $15 a month, and keep it moving from there. You understand?
Yeah.
So a lot of my clients, what they do when they have little ones, and the cost is no different from 1 kid to 10 kids. You see what I mean?
Oh, so my God. Y'all, there are no excuses.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you have 1 kid and you put them onto the policy, if you have up to 10 kids, the cost is like, the rider may be like a $2 or $3 extra. $2 or $3. That's it.
That's it. And guys, this is so, I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because I do think that there are so many people who did not understand how simple that this could be. And you think, even if you were to say, I got to think about getting my child covered, nobody thinks that it could be as easy as just adding them to your current policy. People don't think and consider things like that. And when it's this easy, y'all, we don't have no excuses not to be covered. Bluntly.
There you are. You are. And so when you're setting up a policy for yourself, add your kid as a rider. When you're setting up a policy, add your kid as a rider. That's it. That's all. Men policies tend to be a little more expensive than women policies because they give men less expectancy to live than they do women. And that's only because of, going by history. Going by history, men tend to hold a lot of things in, which causes them to pass away prematurely faster than women. Right. But one thing about it is you can always add your kids, and they even have policies where you can add your grandkids for $1. For $10,000.
Stop playing. This is really what I'm here. I need you guys to understand. Not only is it important for us to have life insurance for ourselves, but this portion of the conversation really made it clear for me to understand your whole family needs to be covered. And just to have that assurance in life that no matter what happens, and y'all, we just gonna keep it real. Again, I say this on every show because every guest I've had thus far has been from here. But honey, we from Chicago. I know we're America's old school and Duskies and you're listening everywhere, but we're from Chicago, okay? And it's a little different here living. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. Getting on the expressway, it's no longer a place where you have to be involved in anything negative or be in the quote unquote wrong place. That doesn't exist anymore. You literally could be riding on the expressway. You literally could be in the supermarket. Y'all, this ain't just a Chicago thing. Actually, you could just be in the supermarket and Jim is mad. And that's that. And it's just important with how as volatile as times are for us to be covered. And I really want to also put an emphasis on that portion of understanding what it does for our community and understanding that it puts money back into our community and just that concept and that aspect that you were speaking of earlier, Sky, in regards to how much money would have been put back into our community.
Yes.
That just bluntly wasn't. And it's very, it affects you differently when you can just see, look, this is what could have happened, period. It's not that conversation isn't even a conversation of what's to come. That's a conversation of what could have been that we missed the opportunity and missed the ball on. And guys, this is so important in building and keeping Black legacies going. So important. I agree. So what I'm going to do, we're going to play a little bit of music one more time. And then when we come back, we're talking about this, entrepreneurship retirement situation because I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm excited too, Kim.
Girl. Now, I want to say, is there anything else you want to drop on them in regards to life insurance as we, in this portion of the conversation?
No, I just want everyone to get an understanding of the power behind life insurance and the transformation of wealth that it leaves behind. That's it. That's all. I want to start a no more GoFundMe campaign for life insurance. That's what I want to do and start in our community.
And my goal after this conversation is for them to understand how easy it is too. That's my piggyback.
Yes.
Because it being worth it is obvious, but it's worth it and easy. Y'all, we playing.
Yes.
We playing.
This is the thing. When you know better, you do better.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why I have you here educating our people. I need you to understand. I know we have a lot of older listeners. Like she said, do not feel that you're not going to be covered. There are no questions asked policies. There are different options available for you so that you're not just not covered and leaving a burden behind in addition to grief.
And I want to say something else too, Kim. I need for us, if we have parents, if we have older parents or elders, I need the kids to check into their policies and make sure that they understand what their mother and father have for their final expense. Make sure that policy is active. Make sure it's paid up to date. Make sure it's not a term that's getting ready to end. Make sure that it's a whole life, different things I need for them to understand. And another powerful thing is the kids, adult kids can purchase policies for our elder parents and grandparents. We can purchase their policy, and take that responsibility and pay for them a policy if they are on a set income and they can't afford it. They can take care of that. They can take care of that for them.
We can afford it, y'all. We paying Netflix. We eating out. Let's just be real. I gotta call our culture out. We're making sure we driving luxury cars and brunching on the weekends. We can afford it. We have to make this a priority.
Yes. They can take care of that cost for their elder parent if their elder parent is on a set income and they cannot afford a policy for themselves. Yes.
Y'all, no excuses. No excuses.
There you are.
No excuses. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a little music. We're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the entrepreneurship and retirement. And then I'm going to let you go, girl, because I know you got stuff to do. I'm going to let you live your best life.
Thank you.
Take New Soul Radio with you wherever you go. Download the New Soul Radio app in the Google Play or Apple App Store by searching New Soul Radio. That's NUSOL Radio. If you have what it takes to host your own radio show, hit us up at teamsose.com and drop your info. That's teamsose.com.
SOLSCI. Soul Say.
This is America.
Peace on left, justice on the right. Peace on left, justice on the right.
This is America.
This is the reason Kaepernick was taking a knee.
Heartbroken when I saw that video. I almost couldn't finish it.
Abuse of power.
We gotta start making changes.
There's a virus in police departments across this country.
If I rule the world,
cops harassing.
Good cops know who these bad cops are.
free all my sons.
You have every right to be angry.
Can you tell me why? Every time I step outside, I see my die.
You have no right to perpetrate violence on the very communities that you are standing up for.
A lot of people have been using my father's words.
That all men are created equal.
The only pathway to do this is through nonviolent means. I'm letting you know that it ain't no gun they make that can kill my soul.
We will bring you justice, I promise.
But if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Start making some changes.
Imagine that this radio spot is about your business.
It's easier than you think.
Text 630-465-5742 to get started. That's 630-465-5742.
Welcome back, family. This is Kim Brio, and of course, you're listening to Gems and Jams, Life Gems and Feel Good Jams. I have Sky Culverson here today, and we have been having some for real conversations, honey, about making sure that our community is financially set to move forward and understanding how life insurance for ourselves is not just coverage for us, but making sure that we understand that it's a tool that can be used to elevate our community. We've spoken about the missed opportunity that our community had kind of with this COVID situation and not having coverage during this time. We talked about in detail how you can get coverage. Sky made some great oh my God, the number of gems that Sky dropped in regards to insurance, understanding the differences between them, understanding how to apply what insurance where, making sure the kids are covered, you're covered. I mean, y'all, this has been a wonderful conversation. If you're just now tuning in, don't worry. As always, you can go to the Patreon for $5 a month. You'll get full access to all past shows. So you have not missed this information. Make sure you go to Patreon and get the beginning of this conversation. But now we're shifting gears, and I'm really excited, Sky, about this portion of the conversation.
Yes.
As we were preparing for the interview, I said, Sky, what are your focuses? And she, of course, said the life insurance thing, which I knew. And then, y'all, she said something and it made my little ears perk up. And she said, and I want to talk about entrepreneurs setting themselves up for retirement. And I was like, mind blown emoji. Not I really was. And it's not that I guess didn't think it existed. I think that myself, along with a lot of the listeners, we associate retirement with being with one company for 20, 30 years, etc. The interesting part about that for our generation is that those jobs don't necessarily exist like that anymore, where our parents were able to work somewhere 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. A lot of times, unless you're in a very specific trade, those careers don't exist anymore. Our biggest companies, our biggest tech companies haven't even been around that long, y'all, for us to have where you couldn't. They ain't worked at Google for 30 years. Google ain't been here for 30 years. You know what I mean? And that's so true. Many of us are finding wealth in our own endeavors and entrepreneurship. So, girl, I am so excited for you to tell me about this retirement for entrepreneur. Girl, tell me something. Talk to me. What does this look like?
So what I do is, again, I sit and do a needs analysis. And what that needs analysis does, it gives me an idea of where you are and where it is you're trying to be by the time you get ready to retire. Mm-hmm. And that's something a lot of us are not giving vision to. Right. We're not actually sitting still and figuring how much do I need to have when I get ready to retire, so that you can have the same lifestyle that you were having in your younger years and the money that was flowing in then, and you're still flowing that same amount in your retirement years. And so you have to figure what that looks like for you. And that's when I come in. That's when I sit down with you and I say, well, Ms. Jones, what is it that you want when you get ready to retire? How much you want to have? And, those different things. And let's put you a financial portfolio together to get you from where you are to where you're trying to go. And that's something that's exciting for me, because what I do is create that financial portfolio for you so you can receive a lifetime guaranteed monthly income.
I'm sorry, I was speechless. I know me and Scott could see each other. Yes, but we could see each other, and I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yes. I have been doing this for years and years and years, but now that so many are shifting to their skills and their talents, and they want to step out, a lot of them are afraid to step out because they don't have a 401k that's going to take care of them when they get ready to retire. Exactly. They don't have a pension. They don't have these certain things. Well, I'm here to let you know you can create this for yourself.
Y'all. This is wonderful. Yes. Now, let me ask you a question, Scott. I want to put myself in the place of my new money, right? And I'm going to say it like this because over the past year specifically, I would say a couple of years, though, there's been obviously a rise in Black business. Over this past year, there's been such a rise in Black business and just unexpected wealth to young people that they don't even understand what to do with, right? Yes. They're literally sitting at home, and there have been people who have figured out and cracked the code and during this pandemic made $1 million. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Talk to me about this new money and what they should do. Of course, contact you, skydiamondfinancial.com. Of course, contact you, but talk to me about this new money and what it would look like, what kind of conversation you would kind of have with them about them putting something into place and being able to assure that their money doesn't just come and go as fast as it came.
There you are. So again, it just depends on where it is that you're trying to go. But just to give a basic standard, what I will do with something like that is we're going to invest a portion of this over here into an annuity that gives guaranteed interest on your monies. And it allows you ready for this? It allows you to participate in the stock market with no losses. So, whoa. Yes, you wasn't ready for this. It's how it's designed. You are linked to the stock market. So what that means is if the stock market goes up, you dump money into your account. If the stock market crash, you retain your gain. You see that?
Do y'all understand what I don't think they understand the gem that is the gem of the show. I don't think they understand the gem you just dropped. Y'all, let's be clear. We as young professionals, we can put our money into annuities that, of course, first of all, guaranteed interest is already, you already talking sweet to me. You're already talking dirty to me, girl. And then on top of that, we can, of course, tie it into the stock market so that we can benefit from it, but be protected against losses. Girl, you are.
There you are.
And a lot of this is literally just because we don't know.
There you are. I tell people all the time, you guys are conditioned to be okay with losing money. Mm-hmm. So, and when I sit with my clients and I tell them, I said, well, you okay with, losing a little money? And, they'll shake their head like, yeah. I was like, okay. So that means that if you're in a fight and they smack you a little bit, you'll be okay.
You'll be okay with that? Just a little bit?
Exactly.
The attitude changed real quick, don't it?
That's what I'm saying. Because my thing is the money is only lost to you. That money did not just evaporate. You know what I mean?
It's in somebody else's hands and somebody else's company account somewhere.
There you are. So let's kind of shift this to no loss. I'm all about keeping my money with me. It's mine. I want my money. You know what I mean?
You sound like I want my money now.
So that's one thing, that I try to emphasize. And some people are okay with, playing in the stock market and things of that. I am not, discriminating against any of those other, vehicles that people want to do.
Taker. Give my money.
And that's one I'm very, more conservative when it comes to my money. And so I want mine in vehicles that's going to reap the benefit, of long-term growth so that when I get there, my money is there. Mm-hmm. That's what's most concerning for me. I need my money there when I get there.
No matter what.
No matter what. So I have to have mine with guarantees and things of that sort. And what I do is a lot of times entrepreneurs are starting off, so they don't have a whole lot of money. Oh, well, that's just fine. I work with you right where you are. I show you where you need to be. And then we start where you are and we grow as time goes on, because I do what you call annuals. I come check in on you. Hey, Miss Jones, how you doing? What's been going on? We're here to increase. We're here to put this here. How's the business growing? As the business growing, then your how you're taking and investing and putting your money away is growing also. Yeah. You may have gotten married. You may have had children. The children may have left home. You may have gotten divorced. Every time things are happening in your life, it's flexible. And it moves and grows with you.
But you have to be cognizant and remain in touch with your skies and allow them to do their annuals and not just put stuff in place and forget about it. And then 10 years later, be like, oh,
I thought I was going to do this. I thought it was going to be this.
Yeah, they got work to do too. You can't just be chasing them. They gotta stay in touch with you too.
And I agree 110%. And so this is another thing that a lot of people are unaware is whoever you put as your beneficiary. So let's just say you have children. I'm just going to give an example. If you have children, you put your children down as your beneficiary, then something happens to you when you have your annuity that you put in place for yourself. Well, you pass away. It was paying you a lifetime of income. Well, you pass away. That product is set up to do the exact same thing for your children that you set up for yourself. So It will start to pay your child a lifetime of income. Wow. And talk about transformation of wealth. That there is powerful by itself.
I mean, literally, when we think about passing down Black businesses and legacies, this conversation we have all the time about passing that down. Even if you don't have a business or a brand, you didn't start Kellogg's and you don't have that to pass down. You are enabling your child to have the resources to build those legacies and to rebuild our community in a different kind of way. You are putting this in a whole different perspective, girl.
Yes. I've been out preaching and teaching this, and I need my community to get it. I need them to get it. And this is another thing. So some is like, well, what if I already have a 401k, with my job and things of that sort.
Yeah.
Excellent. Glad that you are accustomed to saving and putting money away. However, your 401ks are attached to loss and things of that sort.
Oh.
And you have to read the fine print, that 550 pages that they give you once you put your money away.
That we don't ever read.
That you don't read. Somewhere along in there, it will let you know that money is not guaranteed if it's attached to the stock market, and you can suffer a loss. And so I tell people all the time, I'm glad that you are actually participating in your 401k, especially if they're matching some sort of something with that money. Mm-hmm. However, you do want to put together a supplement plan for yourself, because that does, when you get ready to retire, now you're getting a pension, you're getting an annuity payment, and you're getting Social Security. If you put into that, now you're getting checks coming in all different directions. While you're sitting somewhere on the beach sipping a Mai Tai,
relaxing.
That's right. You're getting an income coming in different directions, so that you're not, and I'm not discriminating, but you're not one of those after you retire have to stand at Walmart doing meet and greet.
I was just about to say, or living in a studio apartment because you want a fixed income. And here's the thing that's most mind-blowing to me about this, that this stuff is not difficult to do. It's just about, again, like you said, once you know better, you do better. It's just about moving in a place of having a strategy and understanding that there's nothing that you can say. I can tell you now, having had this conversation with Sky, and if you've been listening, there's nothing you can say that she's not going to say, well, we could figure it out and work it this way, or we could figure out and work it that way. Don't think that you're too old. Don't think that your business don't make enough money. Don't think any of those things. Do what you need to do to get yourself covered. And if you don't know what those options are, guys, skysdiamondfinancial.com. You can enter your email. If you enter your email, you'll get her mailing list, and she does give a lot of great information. But also, you have a button there where you can schedule a consulting call with her. So please understand, the resources are there. This is just the tip of the iceberg, this conversation that we've had today. And I really want you guys to understand the possibilities out there, and not only what they can do for you on a micro level in your life, but what they can do for our community as a whole. Like you said, that picture you illustrated earlier, if you could give those numbers again, about the, I don't even know how to word it. I told you financials is you.
So just to piggyback off of what you said, what I was saying earlier is 55% of Blacks passed away due to the pandemic. And what I said is, if just 20% of that 55 would have passed away with life insurance of $250,000. Terms, that's cheap. $250,000 term policy.
Yeah.
20%, if just 20%, that would have been 3.5 billion with a B as in boy, 3.5 billion created for those families that passed away.
I need y'all to hear that.
Oh, good. Yes.
Into the Black community.
So much money back into the community.
Right now, today.
Yes.
It would have been that's major.
We're so stressed and we're so, pulled in so many different directions. It's because how we handle our money. Mm-hmm. Others don't make more money. They just do differently with their money. They
just have different, and they use strategy, y'all. We got to start thinking and using strategy and understanding the power of the things that are around us. Because this is just one part of this conversation. We haven't touched on credit. We haven't touched on business credit and personal. I'm going to continue to unpack these conversations with you guys, because our community is here for us. We just got to take it.
Yes, we just got to tap into it, Kim. I agree. Yes, I'm excited.
Wonderful. I'm so excited. I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with me. I want to thank you so much for passing this information along. Guys, make sure that you connect with Sky on social media, Sky at Sky's Diamond Financial on Instagram, at Sky's Diamond Financial on Facebook. And I'm saying this with complete confidence because me and Q got her all set up. Again, shout out to Q Johnson of 529 Management. We got her all set up. So we know her stuff is in place for you to find her. And if all else fails, just always remember skysdiamondfinancial.com. Set up a call with Miss Sky and understand what your options are. Talk to her about your family situation, your work situation, your goals, and see what works for you. Y'all, we have talked about life insurance. We've talked about the ease of getting life insurance. We've talked about the ease of adding your children to your life insurance. We've talked about understanding that your not only life insurance, but your 401k with your job only covers so many things, and making sure that we have that additional supplemental policies that do what we need them to do. We have dug in, y'all. We talked about annuities that tie into the market with no loss, guaranteed interest and no loss. Y'all, if y'all don't schedule a call with Sky, I don't know what I don't really know what you were listening to today if you don't understand. As always, if you missed the beginning of this conversation, hop on Patreon. That's patreon.com/SoulSeico. That's SOLSEICO. And you can get full access to all of the past shows. That includes today's show about financial literacy. That includes our shows about mental health in the Black community. That includes our shows about Black business, where we covered it from Reconstruction after slavery up to now. Y'all, we have been really dropping gems. I know y'all be shaking your butt because I be playing the jams, but I know that you are getting these gems too. Sky, I really would love to have you back.
Want 24/7 access to past shows, exclusive content, and VIP on-air opportunities? Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/Soulsei. That's SOLSEICO. Soulsei. Want more dope content? Check out Soulsei's YouTube by searching Soulsei on that Soulsei Chicago. Starting a business? Grab Kim Brio's free brand identity checklist to remove the chaos around DIY in your brand. Get it free at kimbrio.com/checklist. That's Kim Brio. BRIO.com/checklist.
This podcast contains excerpts from New Soul Radio shows. For the full listening experience with music, visit newsoulradio.com. That's NUSOL radio.com.